call the council to join in with one president. That will be led in communication by Reverend Ivan Fuller from First Christian Church in Sioux Falls after the invocation of the pledge of allegiance. So this time I ask everyone to rise.
You pray with me, please. Our Father God, it is good for us to pause and consider what we do and how we fulfill your expectations. Keep our eyes on what is best for all your people, especially in this wonderful city we call home. Some of those who call this home are far from home tonight, standing their watches in hostile and dangerous places. Keep them, Lord, in your protective care. We honor them for their willingness to stand at the gates and to defend not only our freedoms, but also those of all your children. Now grant, Father, wisdom to those here who must make decisions for the welfare of this city and its citizens. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's get started. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make that motion, Knudsen.
Knudsen makes. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further motions? Not all in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh, Knudsen,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benega.
Yes. All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. The consent agenda has been approved. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved, Jameson.
Jameson moved. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further motions, comments? None. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knudsen,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benega.
Yes. All members present voted. The regular agenda has been approved 7 yes, 1 excused. Now, this is a time that we set aside a period of 5 minutes for anyone that would wish to address the council at public input time. We just ask that you give your name and your address. So at this time, would anyone like to address the council? I see no one coming forward. So we will move into the regular agenda, item number 26.
Withdraw transfer of a 2007 retail liquor license from DCK LLC to Shays 323 South Phillips Avenue to DCK LLC Davids to be operated at 212 West 10th Street, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals. Item 27, withdraw renewal of a 2008 retail liquor license for DCK LLC Davids to be operated at 212 West 10th Street, including video lottery terminals and Sunday sales. 28, renewal of a 2008 retail liquor license for DCK LLC to Shays to be operated at 323 South Phillips Avenue, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals, pending final inspections per fire, health, and building services. Item 29, transfer of a 2008 retail liquor license from DCK LLC to Shays 323 South Phillips Avenue to DCK LLC Davids to be operated at 212 West 10th Street, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals, effective upon completion of construction of the new location, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 30, new 2008 retail wine license for JSKR Ventures Incorporated Shooters Pub to be operated at 2309 West Madison Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 31, transfer of a 2008 retail liquor license from Delta Investments, Inc., Boomers, 4408 East 26th Street, to Delta Investments, Inc., name to be determined, to be operated at 607 South Sycamore Avenue, South End, including Sunday sales and video lottery terminals, effective upon completion of construction of the new location, with the conditional use permit being approved on 12/5/07, pending final inspections per fire and building services. Item 32, transfer of a 2007-8 retail malt beverage license from Edwin Bassatre and Sandra Ralda, Tequila America, 802 East 10th Street, to Mara Minero, Tequila Los Cantineros, to be operated at 802 East 10th Street, with the conditional use permit being approved on 12/5/07. Item 33, transfer of a 2007-08 retail malt beverage license from WR Liquor Inc., Booze Boys Casino, 1915 West 12th Street, to LBA Limited Classic Casino, to be operated at 1915 West 12th Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 34, special one-day liquor license request for SMG to be operated at the Orpheum Theater, 315 North Phillips Avenue, on February 22nd and May 2nd, 2008, for opening receptions. Item 35, special one-day liquor license for Robert Wayne Ruff to be operated at the Multicultural Center, 515 North Main Avenue, on January 26, 2008, for a fundraiser. Item 36, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for the Avera McKinnon Foundation to be held at the Avera McKinnon Fitness Center, 3400 South Southeastern Avenue, on April 18, 2008, for the Big Grape.
All right, thank you, Denise. Lori Hogstad with the City Finance Office, and I can answer questions on items 26 through 36. Any
Questions, Lori? Bob Jameson?
For the first ones, what's going on? They're only
All right.
transferring part of their operation?
Well, what we will do with 26 through 29, originally the applicant, their current location is at 323 South Phillips. They are moving to a new location at 212 West 10th Street. And that transfer was supposed to take place in November, but there have been construction delays. So what we are doing, we're just withdrawing their 2007 transfer and the renewal of their 2008 location, 2008 license at the new location at 212 West 10th Street. And we're going back and we're renewing for 2008 at the current location on South Phillips Avenue, which will allow them to stay open for the time being. And then we are transferring the 08 license to the new location pending completion of construction. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a little tricky, but it all works out in the end. So
Further questions of Lori on items 26 through 36? Now, others that wish to address the council on any one of those items from 26 to 36? Not if the council's desire is to take all items on one vote, please make a motion.
I would make a motion that we handle all of these items with one vote.
Motion made by Knutson, is there a second?
Second, let's.
Let's second it. Further comments on that motion? Not all in favor of approving items 26 through 36 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benega. Excuse me.
Yes.
All members present have voted, 7 yes, 1 excused. Items 26 through 36 have been approved. Item 37.
First reading, rezone 2007-1209, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 57th Street and South Sycamore Avenue for commercial, multifamily, and office uses, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services, along with Steve Randall. We have a number of items tonight that will be presented for first reading that were considered by the Planning Commission at their last monthly meeting. Item 37 is approximately 62 acres of land, and it's located in the northeast corner of East 57th Street and Sycamore Avenue. The applicant is Darrell Vierick. The City Council has previously taken action on this item through a land use amendment, and this rezoning request that's being considered tonight is in conformance with that land use amendment. It includes property that will be set aside for future commercial development at the intersection of 57th and Sycamore. Another sub-area would be developed for 4-unit buildings, residential buildings, and then there's additional property that would be set aside for future office or multifamily residential development.
Questions of Mike on item number 37? 38.
First reading, rezone 2007-1014, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 60th Street North and North Career Avenue for future subdivision and commercial development. and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is approximately 80 acres of land. It is located on the north side of 60th Street North and west of Interstate 29. This is property directly across from the University Center development area. This property is proposed to be rezoned for future retail commercial use. This actually was a location that had been considered by Walmart for a third superstore. And as we know, Walmart, at least as of today, have put this site on hold. But the owners of the property and their development group are still wanting to come forward to get the zoning in place so that they could continue to market this site in the future for commercial development. The concept plan that we'd be looking at here, and again, this is just a concept plan, shows that there would be approximately 600,000 square feet potentially of retail space on this property if it's completely built out. The applicant, the name of the applicant, Elizabeth and Everett Elkholm, along with Beverly Griffith. And this is in conformance with our 2015 plan, and the Planning Commission is recommending approval of this rezoning.
Questions of Mike on 38? Bob Litz.
Could I have Steve please go back to the bigger map so I can figure, there you go, thank you.
It's that rectangle that's kind of on the north side of 60th Street that's being considered for the rezoning.
So then it is directly north of where the University Center is going across the road.
The University Center is actually straddling either side of Career Avenue, so it would be to the north of the east half of the University Center property.
Very good, thank you.
Further questions? Bob Jameson.
The land adjacent is already zoned commercial. I see the red area. Is
Yes,
that-
yes.
And this whole area will be zoned, the whole 80 acres is zoned commercial.
That's what the request is for, correct. And it is in the city limits, obviously.
Further questions? Not. Let's go to 39.
First reading, rezone 2007-1219, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 41st Street and Faith Avenue to develop a church and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is approximately 14 acres in size. It is located on the north side of East 41st Street, approximately midway between 6 Mile Road and Powderhouse Road. It is in the city limits, and the applicant is the Community Reformed Church, and they are requesting this rezoning for a future church site.
Questions of Mike on item number 39? Let's move to 40.
First reading, rezone 2007-1123, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 801 through 807 North Cliff Avenue to redevelop the site and sell motor vehicles of less than 75 cc's and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a parcel that's just under 1/2 acre in size. It is located on the northwest corner of North Cliff Avenue and 2nd Street. The proposal is to allow this rezoning for the sale of mopeds and recreational four-wheelers. The applicant's name is Daniel Hoyland. And just to give you a little history of this area, a number of years ago when the state of South Dakota came through to make improvements on Cliff Avenue, there were a number of properties that we worked with the state on rezoning to office. At the time, we wanted to look at office as a more appropriate development along this section of Cliff Avenue because of the adjacent residential uses to the west, and also because we were concerned about the number of driveways that would be on Cliff Avenue in the future. So this little corner was rezoned to office with that intention in mind. And the property has never really developed as an office use since that time. In this case, the applicant is proposing to develop this corner for a limited commercial development for the sale of these small motor vehicles. And when the applicant initially came in with a request, it was for mopeds not to exceed 75 cc's, which is the engine size. And through the review process and through the Planning Commission hearing process, the applicant asked to add to that the four-wheelers, which would be up to the 400 cc's engine size. So in the ordinance that's being recommended for approval by the Planning Commission to establish this zoning district, it is to allow up to 400 cc vehicles. We believe that this is still compatible with the intent of this area and that it would still be compatible with the neighborhood uses to the west and to the north. There is commercial development to the south, and then the institutional uses across the east side of Cliff Avenue. So the recommendation by the Planning Commission has been done in cooperation with the petitioner for this particular development project.
Questions of Mike or Carmen?
Yeah, Mike, I guess I'm wondering, when we allow auto dealers to establish a business, like on 12th, for example, we don't say, well, how big of cars you're going to have or how big of trucks. But here we have, here on North Cliff, a very busy street. We're saying, well, you've got to put in here 400 cc's. I mean, why are we being so specific here?
In this particular location, if you look up at North Cliff Avenue, it does not have that much commercial development in this area. And this is a pretty small lot. It's not very deep. And so it is closer to the residential uses. And again, the original intent was to make this area kind of an office transition, but there really hasn't been a market up there for office redevelopment. So we felt in working with the applicant and with the neighborhood that this was a compromise to allow some reuse of that property, but yet not create any future commercial uses that would be objectionable to the neighborhood.
Okay, Bob, let's.
Mike, there was 2 houses and 3 lots. The houses are coming down. Is that faint line I see, is that a proposed new building that he'll be putting up on?
Yes.
Okay, well, the other one, it looked like it had access and parking coming back from the alley. Will the alley be his main access, or will he be coming off of Cliff Avenue?
I believe he would be coming off 2nd Street, and the alley could also be an access. But the site plan that we would be working with him on is still very preliminary. Once the rezoning is approved, they would come back for another hearing with their more specific development plan. And we would look at those issues such as access in the building and those kind of things.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Bob Jameson.
Mike, I think some of those four-wheelers have much larger engines than 400 cc's.
Yes.
And it used to be that a 400 cc motorcycle, when Honda first came out, was a pretty good-sized motorcycle. What, is motorcycles also permitted on this, up to 400 cc's?
It's the way that the applicant has expressed to us, he would like to just do mopeds and four-wheelers.
But most mopeds don't go to 400 cc's.
Right, the four-wheelers would be allowed up to the 400 cc's.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe we'll have him come here at second reading so we can be more specific on exactly what his intent is. I think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Dee?
Mike, we're at the Planning Commission level, and any other discussions that you guys have had with this applicant, was there any concern as far as the noise level?
No. I don't think that they'll be testing these vehicles on site as far as,
Okay,
how
like
they run and those kind of things. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and I guess, I didn't ask this very clearly, but, I didn't even think about them like testing them so much as people trying them out to think about buying them, and I decided to take one for a spin, except, I need some direction. But, it's just thinking when people are coming in to buy, they might want to try them out and so forth. And I was just wondering if it would be too noisy for a mostly residential area.
Well, again, they're smaller vehicles, and I don't think they would be of concern because they would be well below any kind of noise ordinance requirements that we would have.
Kermit?
Yeah, once again, I still don't know why we have this 400 cc's restrictions. Why not just put mopeds or... I still don't see why we have to be so specific here.
I think I've given you my justification. I'm not sure what else I can tell you.
Well,
And the Planning Commission's justification. Again, this is really coming from the petitioner the petitioner is saying, this is the largest kind of vehicles that I want to sell. So he's very content with what's being proposed. This is not something that we forced his hand on.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm sure the petitioner didn't write the title of this, you know, proposed ordinance. I mean, if I was somebody like him, I would just say, hey, I want to sell mopeds and scooters. And so once again, I still don't really see why we have so specific here. We're not specific with cars. We're not specific with trucks, with the engine size or anything like that.
And again, Councilmember Staggers, I think I said that on North Cliff Avenue, you have a different situation. You don't have, like West 12th Street, an entire strip of commercial development. You have neighborhood uses that are very close to this area. And if we did not put any limitations, then anybody could come in there and make it into just a car lot that would allow trucks and cars. And I'm not sure that that's really what the neighborhood would like to see up there.
Mike, did the applicant, did they come in asking for a planned development, or would they originally come in asking for a commercial zoning, or?
They came in saying, we want to sell mopeds, and we came up with this through the negotiation of going to the 400 cc's. That's where the planned development idea came forward as a way of putting that as a stipulation on the rezoning.
I mean, there seems to be a lot of commercial on the other side of the street, up and down side of that street. I'm still kind of struggling with why it wouldn't be allowed commercial, just because of all the residential on the sides of it, east side.
And
west
again,
side.
as I tried to go back to the history of this site, that we originally worked with the state of South Dakota to change it to office zoning as a transition. The commercial uses were really farther to the south and farther to the north, so we were just trying to keep in mind to try to maintain the integrity of the residential neighbors that are up in that area as much as we could.
Further questions? 40. Let's go to 41.
First reading, rezone 2007-1224, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 57th Street and T. Ellis Road to allow commercial and residential land uses and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is approximately 100 acres in size, and it's in the northeast corner of West 57th Street and the Ellis Road. John Broke is the applicant. The proposal is to rezone this into the different zoning categories for commercial, multifamily residential, and single-family residential. We are also working with the Sioux Falls School District to provide for a future school site, elementary school site at this area, as well as a potential for a neighborhood park adjoining this property. And obviously, those decisions would be subject to future decisions. At this time, the Sioux Falls School District has indicated that there's a need for a school site in this area because of the overcrowding of the southwest area of Sioux Falls. And so the owner has been working with both the city and the school district on putting together a proposed development plan that would serve the developer's needs as well as the future needs for a potential school park site. The Sioux Falls School District has indicated that if the site is provided for a school, that they would like to have the building underway and open by the fall of 2009.
Questions of Mike Kermit?
Yeah, the park and school. Is the owner of this land at this time proposing to give the land to the school district and to the park department, or?
Not at this time that I'm aware of, no. I think.
Are we going to try to get this park land free? I mean, in the past, we've tried to do this. Are we going to try this time?
We always have those discussions with every property owner. Not every one of them agrees to that, so that type of discussion, I think, would continue in the future. But at least the preliminary conversations that I'm aware of with the owner is that it would not be a donation to the city or to the school district, either one.
So we can anticipate possibly buying this parkland.
Yes, I would say that's a fair assumption to make for the future.
Further questions? 41, Bob Jameson.
Mike, the previous slide, I believe, showed some wetlands in that area.
That's a wetland that can be mitigated, and we've already been working through the different permit processes for that. That can be filled, and there's no limitation as far as allowing that to happen.
Good. Thank you.
Public Works has been involved in those discussions with us.
Bob Litz.
Mike, that little piece of Klein Avenue showing on there, is that a finished road, or is that gravel right now? Right down there, South Klein.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not sure if that street is actually in yet or not,
Very good, thanks, Mike.
or if it's just a platted street at this time.
Further questions? Let's go to 42.
First reading, rezone 2007-1213, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the southeast corner of East 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue to allow future development of 5.5 acres of residential zoning, 4.5 acres of office zoning, and 15 acres of commercial zoning, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The next three items are items that the City Council has seen before. You've approved a land use amendment for each of these. The applicant in all three cases is Ted Toms. And as I go through these different rezoning requests, the zoning that's being proposed is in conformance with the land use amendments that you previously have approved. Item 42 is in the southeast corner of 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue, and it's approximately 25 acres in size. The development plan shows that it would be future single-family residential, office, and commercial. And again, the proposed rezoning is in conformance with the previous land use amendment that you have approved.
Questions, Mike, on 42? 43.
First reading, rezone 2007-1214, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the northwest corner of East 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue to allow future development of 40.6 acres of single-family residential zoning, 20.4 acres of residential apartment zoning, and 12.5 acres of commercial zoning, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
And again, this is at the northwest corner of this intersection of 69th and Southeastern. And as you have heard in the agenda, it describes the different types of zoning that is proposed with this 78-acre parcel. This is 78 acres in size. And I will comment that we are also looking at a portion of this that would be potentially set aside as a possibility for a future overpass on 69th Street, the railroad overpass.
Questions of Mike at 43? Gerald.
Mike, I've got some questions, I guess, about a policy discussion that we need to have in reference to having an overpass on every street that crosses the railroad. And I'm wondering if we've talked about that in the past, if you've had any internal conversations about what those costs are and what the benefits are. I understand the reason for having those on a, I guess, a certain mile marker, but not having one on every overpass because they are expensive. And frankly, we've lived with railroad traffic before, and I'm not sure that this is cost effective.
Okay, and I can certainly get the council information of the study that was done, I think it was back in 2002, of looking at kind of a four-phase railroad project, including Phillips to the Falls.
I remember the railroad,
right?
Yeah, the railroad conversation downtown, but I'm not sure that we've talked about that in detail when we look at some of the further out areas of the community.
And that study also indicated that in the future, if the street was being either improved or constructed, that other potential locations would be 26th Street,
right,
57th Street, which we're going to be doing this year, and then 69th Street. So I can certainly get together with Public Works and put together maybe a summary of that information for the council's review.
That would be beneficial. Thanks.
Bob Litz.
I guess I'd like that too, Mike, because as I recall it, if 85th Street and then Highway 100 has the overpass put in down there as well, we're kind of crowding them together. I know the 69th Street overpass is going to be a nightmare for you folks trying to figure out where to do that with the wetlands and all that and the property owners that are around there. But yeah, I'd really be interested in an update on that too, because I think that might be what Gerald's talking about. And at the time that the railroad plan was put together for downtown, was Highway 100 for certain to go along where 85th Street is?
No, it was not at that time. It was not.
So I think that might be the
Finalized.
complication that Gerald's talking about. That
Okay.
would interest me as well. So.
Sure. We'll
Further
provide you-
questions? Pat?
Mike, could you talk about how we name our streets?
How we name them? Well, is there any particular one that you're questioning?
Well, I know East Knutson Drive, Dempster Court, Munson Drive.
Costello Road.
I don't see that.
Well, we actually have a process whereby the developer submits their plan with their proposed street names. We actually have a street naming committee that reviews those for duplications or streets that don't meet our ordinance in terms of the naming, if it's a street or avenue or court or drive. It's very seldom that we reject a street name, but there is a review process that we do go through.
Further questions? Let's go to 44.
First reading, rezone 2007-1212, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at southwest corner of East 69th Street and South Sycamore Avenue to allow future development of 28.3 acres of residential zoning along the south of East 69th Street and 10.5 acres of commercial zoning at the southwest corner of the intersection at East 69th Street and Southeastern Avenue, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is the property at the southwest corner, which is approximately 38 acres in size. And as the ordinance is written, you can see that this is proposed for commercial, multifamily, as well as single-family residential uses. And in this case, there is also a provision for the potential of a future railroad right-of-way, railroad overpass right-of-way.
Questions on 44? Vernon?
Mike, that right-of-way, is that something the city would have to purchase then, or is that going to be donated?
As things would stand today, I would say most likely it would have to be purchased. Public Works is looking at a preliminary design, or has looked at a preliminary design to kind of know how much potential land area would be required. So, based on our earlier discussions with the applicant, I would anticipate that this will most likely be an acquisition that we would have to acquire by purchasing it.
Further questions? Let's go to 45.
First reading, major amendment, 2007-1221, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 15.45.070, Diamond Valley Planned Development Districts at East 73rd Street and South Cliff Avenue, allowing changes in land use as reflected in the revised sub-area regulations to provide a banquet hall reception center.
This is somewhat of an unusual application, and the proposed site is in the northwest corner of South Cliff Avenue and 73rd Street. It's about 1.6 acres in size. We've been meeting with representatives of George Boom Funeral Home about the possibility of developing a new funeral chapel in this area. And one of the concepts that they're wanting to include with a funeral chapel is a building that would be adjacent to this that could be used as a banquet hall reception center for funerals or for other activities that it would be rented out for. And this is something that apparently is going on around the industry nationwide. The applicant has also indicated that there's a potential that they would be coming back at a future date with a request for on-sale alcohol at this location. And so again, in working with the applicant and looking at the neighborhood area, rather than just zoning it without any limitations whatsoever, the proposal is to amend this plan development and allow this specific use as a banquet hall within this area. And the applicant has been working with us on the language that's in the proposed ordinance. And I'll just read the uses. It says banquet hall, an establishment engaged in periodic events such as weddings, dances, and potlucks. Typically, it's rented out to private parties or special interest groups. It usually includes food preparation and or serving, along with live entertainment or recorded music. So that's based on the information that the applicant submitted to us of what they would like to use this for. And at second reading, we'll want them to have a representation here too, so they can explain their idea a little bit more for you.
Questions of Mike on 45? Let's go to
Mayor.
Okay.
Mike, do you know, are they interested in beer and wine license or
I believe
full
they will
liquor
be,
license?
yes.
Or are they interested in a full liquor
I
license?
believe it's beer and wine, I believe, but that's why I want them to be here to kind of explain it to you exactly in detail what their thought is.
further questions? Let's go to 46.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the exchange of real property.
Good evening, Randy Bartunik, Director of Community Development and Public Parking. This ordinance will allow the city to exchange a piece of land that the city owns at 509 South 4th Avenue for a residential lot at 609 South Elmwood that is owned by James Jurgensen. And after the exchange has been completed, we'll use the lot at 609 South Elmwood as a part of our affordable housing program.
Questions on 46? Questions? Gerald.
Randy, I'm assuming that we have appraisals on both pieces of property that are similar?
Very close. The difference will actually be paid for by the use of community development block grant funds.
Okay.
Kermit?
Yeah, what's the difference, Randy, in the price?
$7,500. The structure, or the property at 609 South Elmwood has an old structure on it, whereas the land owned by the city is a vacant lot.
Further questions? If not,
Oh, I just had just a quick question. It's not about this, but if I could ask, we've had the briefing on the removal of snow from sidewalks and so forth, and people are supposed to do it 48 hours after a snowfall. So when are people supposed to have their snow removed as a result of this last snowstorm?
We're going to start taking complaints at Thursday at morning at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock,
Yeah.
Thursday. Okay, thank you.
okay, we've got those items been heard. So is there a motion to set the hearing date for February 4th for items 37 through 46?
So moved.
Bennigan moved. Is there a second? Brown seconded. Further comments? No further comments on that motion. All in favor of setting the hearing date for items 37 through 46 for Monday, February 4th? Vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Knutson? Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
All members present voted. The hearing date has been set for February 4th for items 37 through 46. Now we're at item, what is this last one we have? 47, isn't it? Yeah, go to 47 then.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, combining the school district election with the regular city election on April 8, 2008, using super precincts.
Thank you and good afternoon. This is Deborah Owen, City Clerk for City of Sioux Falls. I just want to touch briefly about the resolution to begin, if I could. It does two things. One, it will authorize the partnering with the city, with the school district, and two, it will authorize the use of super precincts. To touch on number one, the partnering with the school district, this is not unusual. For over 20 years now, the city has partnered with the school district when the opportunity arises. And in general, city elections run every other year on even years, and school board elections run annually. Also in situations such as the Drake Springs Pool, where the opportunity arose, we joined with the school district. That happens by both of the entities taking official action in an open public meeting. And then the joint entities share costs, and they share the workload. And actually, the 1987 agreement, which authorizes and stipulates to those duties, And two, the resolution authorizes super precincts, and when we look at those, there really is a balance of two objectives that we try to reach with the number of polling places. One, which was the wise use of taxpayer dollars, and then equally important is ensuring that polling places are easily accessible and available to everyone. To touch on the first objective, we have expenses associated with elections are increasing. Oh, go to the next slide. Thank you. And those are based on individual factors, which as you increase polling places, the costs then rise in same fashion. So you have, we rent the polling places. We have to hire workers for each polling place. The length of the day is a factor, which is 12 hours by state law. And then, of course, the delivery and the pickup of all of the equipment. And there's other items that are also related to the increases in election costs. If we go to the 2006 election, which was the initial, that was the mayoral election, we had 57 precincts. There was some consolidations. It's important to note back then we had 16 into the 8 polling places, so we did consolidate even on that election. However, the cost for 2006 for the city elections was a total of $66,000. The city had 2 elections that year, both the regular and the runoff. Our bill was about $51,000, and the school district, which split the first, that regular election, theirs was $15,000. Because I didn't participate in the second election. Looking also at the cost for 2007 with the use of super precincts, we had a significant cost savings of over $11,000, and actually that election really cost us about $11,000 total, which was a significant drop, in part because we knew there would be a lower voter turnout. And then on to the second objective that we look for when we're trying to balance the use of super precincts, and that's the important one, is to ensure that all polling places are easily accessible and that they're available to everyone. Factors that were considered with the number of polling places this year, if you look to general elections which happened during presidential years such as 2008, they planned for about 85% turnout. If you look at our local elections, we have between 13 and about 37% turnout. 37% is our record that happened in 2006. Super precincts reduce polling places based on the historical data that we have from voter turnout. There's a number of things that we use that historical data for in determining how many ballots to print, how many workers to hire, and so it's an excellent source for us to predict future elections. Other factors that we considered, which were making sure that all of the buildings were ADA accessible, there was ample parking for everybody, and that we could ensure that there would be short voter lines. And the current plan is to use about 23 polling places. There is a draft map available to each of you. It is not finalized yet, but I think it's a pretty good indicator. You'll see that there are polling places in every neighborhood in the city. And then there was some concern last time in the minimizing, next slide, thank you, in making sure that voters were aware of the super precincts, and we did we had great help. The city sent out water bill inserts, the school sent home handouts with each student. The media played a great role in helping us get the message out. In addition, the city clerk's office also publishes by law both the ballot and the map in the Argus Leader. And then Channel 16 and Channel 22 also ran information on that. And then we also will send out cards for those who actually change those polling places. For the very few voters who do that, then we send out cards to those individually. And then lastly, just to let you know, actually, that all 3 election officials have been a part of this plan. Sue Roush at the county, and Bev Chase at the school district, and myself. And we all 3 are actually in support of this and think that we have an ample number of polling places, but also that this could be a polling place number that we could hold to for now in future elections and not go back and forth. So with that, again, to the conclusions, this resolution would require the city to partner with the school district for the April 8th election, and it would also authorize the use of super precincts. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, Deb, the April 8th election, is it going to be a 50-50 split between the school district and the city?
Actually, that is, you mean in the costs?
Yes, the costs.
We have the 87 agreement that we, both entities use at this point. We do split with the costs associated with the city election itself, but there are school district places that are outside of the city, and we actually don't share in those costs. So primarily, but there's a few exceptions to that in the contract.
Further questions? Others who wish to address the council on item 47? Not? Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve item number 47 on the agenda.
Knutson moved. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Okay, we got Benning was seconded. All in favor of the motion to approve item 47, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 47, 7 yes, 1 excused. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Litz.
Let's move. Second.
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconded. All in favor of that motion to adjourn? Vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
We stand adjourned.